Hey everyone, today you're going to hear of an idea that will encourage you to scale back your life, sit on the front porch, and grab your corncob pipe. You also hear about my reasoning for having fake grass and fake plants all around my house. So welcome to the podcast, everybody. This is The Idealist. So, Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but you grew up on a farm, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What was farm life like growing up?
Miserable. Like it's miserable, man. Like
Oh, that makes me sad to hear.
we had 40 acres. They were completely dry because we were in the plains of Colorado where you have to have irrigation water to make anything live. Farm life starts very early in the morning, especially when you're in the desert trying to create a farm.
How early?
Well, when I was in high school, I used to leave around 4:30 in the morning, like start on things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's no fun.
No, it wasn't fun, but like it's such a, like now that I've been removed from it for so long, like thinking back to growing up that way, it's so bizarre because like I said, I lived in a desert. Like Eastern Colorado is like a complete desert. So the only way you can get water is when the irrigation water comes in. And so there's these weird pipes that run along the irrigation ditch. They're these metal pipes and they're like almost like an upside down U.
Yeah. And
I would have to put my hand over one end of this pipe, shove the other end in the water and like shake it back and forth to try to prime it and drop it. And sometimes there'd be 150, sometimes there'd be 500 of these pipes in a row. So you're just grabbing them, shaking them, dropping them, shaking, dropping. And if they were too big, like if the pipes were really big, you'd have to have the Nerf football to shove in the end of it. And get
of course. You got to get creative.
You know what else was just, I think, insane? So in my little town, there was one store. It was called Cortson's Corner.
Okay.
And she had this chalkboard in there. And when it was water season, she would write up there what day the water was expected in. And then throughout the day, somebody would call, like her phone would ring and they would be like, water's in Boone. And then she would ring this bell outside or sound a siren. And then when it got to Avondale, somebody would call her and say, water's in Avondale. And so this way, all the people in the area, these farmers were just sitting around drinking cups of coffee and stuff, waiting. And then when it got to hit to a certain place, when it hit Fowler, then it was all hands on deck and everybody was rushing out, setting their gates, getting ready to capture the water as it came rushing into our town.
I mean, how were you formed by the farm? I mean, this is
this is America. Can you believe that?
I'm a city boy, so this is all unique to me. So, but I mean, was that formative though? Like, how were you shaped by that? Like how what have you learned from that? That's kind of interesting to you as you look back and go, oh, man, I was really formed on the farm.
Yeah, I mean, I think self-reliancy.
Yeah,
both good and bad. But like very, very self-reliant, like you just got to figure things out, like if your hands are too small, if you're born with tiny hands, you got to use a Nerf football. So like whatever it takes is what you had to do every day.
So you learned self-reliance. I feel like I learned the exact opposite growing up in the city. I don't know if I can do anything right now. I
mean, you can grow grass, right?
No, I have fake grass. I have fake grass in my house. You walk into my house and we have plants. The plants are fake.
Yeah.
Like I'm the opposite. I wouldn't even know, I wouldn't even know where to start. Yeah. I feel helpless. I feel useless because I didn't grow up on the farm.
Yeah.
Man. Well,
you probably had a lot more time though to do things, to explore like other kinds of interests though.
Like what? Like your story is so cool to me. It is. It is. Like I am I wish I grew up on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you wish you grew up in the city? Like,
oh yeah. Like every day I was like, man, I would be playing Division I college basketball if I wasn't out here feeding these stupid sheep right now.
Yeah.
If I wasn't milking cows at 4:30 in the morning and I was lifting weights and running, so yes, I always wished I did not grow up on the farm. Yeah.
Man, milking cows.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Jonathan, you have a pretty innovative idea around farms. Yeah. So give us the problem and the solution and let's take it through the idea exploder process. So go for it. Hit us.
There's several problems that I see. One, our produce usually travels further than we did. Like local produce, even when it says local produce, most of the time that produce that we're getting in the store isn't really local. And then
correct.
we know all of the different sprays and chemicals and all the things that go into it there. We have too many big corporate farms. We have a lot of people who want to be farmers, but they just don't know how, like that is living up by New York City for a while. That was everybody's dream, was to sell out of everything they had in New York City, move out into the Hudson Valley and start like a micro farm and start something. But most people don't even know where to begin. Like we had a neighbor who was asking my dad, is 6 inches too deep to plant his grass. And grass is something you sprinkle on top of the soil and water and it comes up. Like if he had planted it 6 inches deep, it would have been like 6 years and it might have started.
That's what I would have done. Right. I would have done that. I was that guy.
Dug up your whole yard. Yeah.
Correct.
So like they don't fully understand. And then all of the other things that go into farming, it's not just being able to make something grow. Then you have to get contracts to sell your food to. You have to fulfill those contracts, like with supermarkets or different things like that. You have to be able to purchase seeds in such high quantity that it's not breaking the bank. There's just so many steps. And then even if you bought a piece of land, how do I figure out what grows here? Like, do I just start planting tomatoes and cross my fingers that they're going to show up? So being able to understand the soil and all of that other stuff. And I come from a franchising background. That's what Chicken Cone is. It's a franchise and we franchise out. And I was thinking, why is there not a farm franchise?
Okay.
So
that's what this is.
Yeah. A farm franchise, Diversa-Farm. You have a corporate entity that teaches all of the franchisees that buy in what they can grow on their land, how to grow it. They're negotiating the large contracts, that kind of stuff. And you have them spotted out all across the country. So it's almost like a giant conglomerate, but very, very hyper local. So
the solution is called Diversa-Farm.
Diversa-Farm.
Okay. And it seems pretty simple. It's farm franchising.
Mm-hmm.
So general reactions on this, I mean, I love the idea because I feel like it is meeting that impulse that people have today, which is I want to get out to the farm.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
Right.
Like it's probably somebody who's got a little more knowledge than I do about it who would be interested in this. Could you talk to me about that? Like who's the profile of the person who's going to buy into this franchise?
Okay. The tech startup guy in Brooklyn.
Okay.
That wears his, $500 beanie and his flannel shirt.
Yeah.
Every day. And he's just dreaming about not riding his bike to Williamsport and, working in his little cubicle. He's dreaming about the day when he's out there gardening in his yard and thinking about how he's going to make tech work in the new farming industry. That's who it's geared for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this is kind of the end result of his hipster dreams, essentially?
This is the fulfillment of his hipster dreams. Yes.
So the only thing to the right of this is going to be like joining the Amish community? It's like saying we're heading out to Alaska and we're going to stake out a piece of property, man, and we're going to start building it there. Yeah. And I mean, maybe that's one of my buts, which is another one of our categories, is this a fad? Like, do you feel like that profile you just gave us, is that a fad? Is this really going to last? How I don't know how long this has been going on for. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. But
I think farming has been going on for thousands and thousands of years.
Okay. Thanks, jerk. I understand farming. I'm talking about the guy with the beanie hat.
Right. No.
Is that guy a fad? The guy with the jeans that are rolled up, and they're tight.
Yeah.
On the calves.
Yeah.
Is that a fad?
Yeah, he's a fad. But that fad, he's just that characteristic is a fad.
Yeah.
But that desire is not. We've seen it. I mean, that's why America goes from the East Coast to the West Coast, because you had all these people living in the city that wanted to move out west and start their own farm and head out to Kansas and all these other places. That's why people showed up in America, because they were running out of room and they wanted to start their own farm. I mean, we have TV show about it. Green Acres, about a rich guy that just wants to have his own farm.
Which one was Green Acres? Who was in that?
One of the Gabors, Jaja Gabor.
Oh, yeah, the other Gabor. Of course. Yeah.
Yellowstone. Yellowstone is wildly popular because people think, I want that ranch life. I want that. Like, there's something in us that calls to the earth and that we want to be a part of. We all want gardens in our own houses. We have greenhouses and we have yards and all of these things. So there's this primal desire, and I don't think that'll ever go away.
Yeah, and it seems like technology is allowing those private gardens in the apartment complexes. Like you're finding these spots that you can set up shop now to have a garden in New York City.
Yeah.
Like that seems relatively new.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe the impulse always was there, but now the technology and the service is there in a way that it wasn't before.
Yeah.
And this seems to be like taking that impulse and just putting it on steroids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you have any yeah buts? Like, as you have thought about this idea,
So,
what are some of the things like, ooh, this would be a hurdle, this would be a challenge, don't know if this is going to work?
Yeah. So as we go through the idea exploder, the first yeah but that I would have would be knowledge. Like, farming is hard work and it takes a lot of knowledge. And so it would be very important. Like I wouldn't feel qualified to start this franchise. I have friends that I would feel 100% qualified to start a franchise like this with. You know, I have friends who own enormous farms out in Rocky Ford, Colorado, and some places like that feed, like we'll get their watermelons here pretty soon at our supermarkets here in South Florida because they feed so many places.
Would I be the worst person to start this franchise with? Like as a partner?
As a franchisor, but not as a franchisee. Because that one of my yeah buts is you would have to have a strong training franchisor system.
Correct.
You'd have to be able to go out and know exactly what you could grow here in South Florida, what you could grow in the Garden State of New Jersey, what you could grow in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. So that's going to take someone that has probably an ag degree as well as history in farming. So that's one yeah but I have. Like, you have to have the right kind of mental people. You can't just grab Poor Richard's Almanac and start reading through it. Have you ever tried to read one of those things?
Have I ever tried to read Poor Richard's Almanac?
Yeah.
No, of course not.
They make absolutely no sense. So like, it does you no good to have one. And so you're going to need that. You're going to need to understand, because, you know, you have to rotate your crops. You have to make sure you're planting the right things at the right time so they come up in the right time of year and harvest them. So that knowledge base has to be there. That's one.
Yeah.
Two, a big yeah but with any kind of businesses, the franchisee has to be willing to work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Yeah. What's the requirement for the franchisee? Like, okay, so how does this work? So am I purchasing the land?
I would say yes. You would purchase the land.
Am I finding the land?
Yes.
So I find the land, but how do I even know what land is farmable?
You would get a real estate agent.
Okay.
Probably one assigned by the franchisor or suggested by the franchisor.
That makes sense.
They would help you. There's farm real estate agents out there. They help you figure out, okay, how much land am I going to need to make a living in the Hudson Valley? I want to make $120,000 a year. How big a piece of property do I need? In the Hudson Valley, you might need 2 acres. In Arkansas Valley, Colorado, you may need 400 acres to make that amount of money. So they help you decide, how many acres do I need? You purchase that land. Yep. Then starts, testing the soil. So your franchisor would help you in getting that done. So we get a sample of your soil. It gets tested. We start planning out, like, this is what your crops are going to look like. We're negotiating the contracts for your seeds, where to buy your seeds at, where to sell them at, what kind of fertilizer we're going to use, what kind of pesticides, if any, that we're going to use, how to run a farm stand. All of those different things are going to get coached through. And so what's going to be relied on for you is the ability to purchase the land, the ability to purchase the seeds, the fertilizer, that kind of stuff, the ability to then harvest it, and then the work and effort that it's going to take in doing that. And if you operate a farm stand, being able to hire employees to help at that farm stand as well.
In terms of the skill ability to actually work it, is that something this company can teach? Is that easy to do? Or do you need does it take the right person already to get into this? Like for instance, could you teach me to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think we're all born with the gift.
Then that means anybody could do it.
I think we're all born with the gift of farming, It is.
Are you saying farming's in my soul?
Farming's in your blood for sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You just have to cultivate it.
Yeah.
Which literally means to discover the potential and bring to fruition.
So when I purchased and installed my fake grass, a part of my soul died that day. Is that what you're saying? There's a part of me that was rotting.
There's a little bit, maybe not. Like, yeah. This may not be your farming time. Your garden may be somewhere else, Brad. Your garden may be your son's. Who knows?
That's very kind. Very kind. Very good way to look at it. Okay, so that's how it would work from I'm interested to getting me working on the farm.
Yeah.
If I'm the franchisee, I'm purchasing the land. I'm paying you a
Royalty, most likely. So you pay
royalty and a upfront
upfront franchise fee, and then a royalty, and that royalty comes out monthly. Well, probably wouldn't come out monthly in a farm franchise. It would probably happen upon the sale of your goods. But that would be something that we're negotiating as the franchisor. So those royalties would probably work out differently because you're negotiating the sale price if they're selling. Because what we would try to do is have enough of these farms that we can start getting picked up by Whole Foods or someplace like that and saying we're actually going to be able to supply you hyper local produce to all your Whole Foods. That would be the goal.
How lucrative are farms?
So
what do you know about this? Like, could I really make 6 figures doing this model?
So I know farms, just like with anything else, as you grow, it costs more and it's a higher risk. Yeah. So the smaller you can keep your farm, the better, the less risk you have involved because you're not purchasing as much equipment. Like you're not purchasing. Like I have friends who have 6 or 7 $500,000 tractors. And so you're having to make that payment all the time. And then they're purchasing, 2 million pounds of seed. But if you're keeping it small, you should be able to support yourself. You're not going to grow rich from it, but you could earn a living and support yourself.
See, I feel like it's a miss to target the Brooklyn hipster on this one. Yeah. I think this is like just a straight up lifestyle play for. It could be a family. Yeah. It could be a family. Oh, I'm sick of living in the city. Yeah. Let's move out to the country. Let's live off the farm.
Funny Farm. Remember that movie with
Funny
Chevy
Farm?
Chase?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. Was that the premise of it? Gosh, I haven't seen that forever.
They moved out. I think he was trying to write a book.
Okay.
They moved out, but they wanted out in the country. They wanted out there.
It doesn't. Now, I push back on this. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like it's necessarily appealing to, hey, if you want to make a ton of money,
right?
This is the way you should go.
No.
This seems like a lifestyle play.
It is. 100%.
I want to make enough money to live off the farm, feed my family, and have a good
put in an honest day's work.
And like a really strong, good, enjoyable, middle class, hearty life. That's who this is for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think that going that direction with it widens the appeal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot. And I think especially on this side of like pandemic life where, I don't know, my wife and I have been talking about this a lot, just how watching people work, even watching ourselves work and before the hustle, right? And building your whole identity on your work. And then for 2 years, things are shut down and you realize, oh, there's life outside of work. There's identity outside of work, and there's more emphasis on the family. There's more emphasis on the work, the life, the balance. And I wonder if this plays into it a little bit,
I think 100%. I mean, I will say this about farm life. I've never had better sleep than after working on a farm. Like when I helped as an adult and I went and stayed with my grandparents for a little while and helped them on their farm. And like the end of the day, you can sleep. You can really, really sleep.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
And corn tastes a lot better than the glowing yellow corn you buy in a can. So like food tastes better. It's richer feeling. And there's just something about it. And
you're winning me over here. There's something happening inside of me. My soul is lighting up a little bit. The city boy is now going, wait a second, maybe I've been missing it all these years.
I mean, you're tired and it's hard labor and hard work, but like it is a fulfilling, enriching experience to know that I provided everything that we're about to eat and sold it and we're able to live. And it's not you. This is another thing that I think gets glossed over sometimes. Farming isn't a year-round job.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have 2 to 3 fallow months where you're just killing time, making your plans, drawing your little gardens, how they're going to look, prepping for everything, probably going on some small vacations, things like that. If you don't have a bunch of animals and you can get out of there. So.
But you're right. Something's coming alive in me. You're talking about that sense of accomplishment, the
That's
sleep.
Good.
You know, is it a little bit like I feel when like leaves get into my hot tub and I have to take out, I take out the net, you know, and I get it out. And I just feel like I just conquered the world.
You just did something. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking
You're
about.
saying I could have that every day?
That's like the Chris Rock version of it. But if you want the Rock version of it, then you're going to have to be on a farm probably.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Because there really is nothing better than emptying out that net.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. Good stuff. So business model, let's talk about financial model for a second. I think you walked us through it. I think it's pretty straightforward in your head that you delivered it to me pretty well of how this makes money. It's a franchise fee. It's a royalty fee. But percentage at some point, like off of the sale of good. Like it would probably be a negotiated rebate from like Whole Foods or some large place like that you lock it in with, so that you're not actually taking anything from the franchisees, but you're getting the rebate. So, but to me, this also seems like a McDonald's play, where you could
own the real estate.
You got a massive company that is looking at all of this rural, real estate that's going on, and they're
free labor.
Yeah. I mean, if the economy starts dipping a little bit, there's a grab of real estate. If I'm a big company, this could be a great play. Let's grab up all of this country land.
Yeah.
And then let's do this model with it. And then you just have you just own the real estate.
Yeah.
And you have people still pay you the franchise fee. You still do it the same way you were talking about, except now you own the real estate. What's your thought on that?
That's fantastic. Like if you have the capital to do that, that would be the way to go. A lot of times franchisors don't have the capital in the beginning to be able to own the real estate, but if you do, of course, that's the way to go.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say like this type of real estate though is it's cheaper real estate, right, than city real estate, but it's also you're immediately adding value to a part of town.
Yeah.
That where the value isn't there as much, right? Whereas if you went to the city and you bought up real estate and you tried to do, this type of model, the real estate's going to be super expensive,
There's some places like Hudson Valley, Napa Valley, those kind of places. It's going to be really expensive there as well. But yeah, on the vast majority, it would be much cheaper. But as you were talking, I was thinking there's a lot of unused space inside cities, like under overpasses, under power lines, all of those different places where ground just sits with nothing there. What if all of those places were turned into gardens, and people were allowed to have 10 or 15 of those lease that property and have some gardens there.
So that would be working with city-owned property, maybe leasing it from them and then subleasing it to others.
Department of Transportation or whoever.
Whoever owns it. I like that. Yeah. So have we talked about names yet? What you call it? Diversifarm?
Diversifarm was the first name that popped in my mind.
So Diversifarm, do you have another one?
Because franchising things like the word Fran so much, Fran Farms. I kind of hate that one, but
Fran
I feel like
Farm
that would be important. Attainable farms. So almost like sustainable farms, but it's attainable. So the person that's wanting a change of life, sitting in South Florida in the hot tub doing a Zoom call, could be like, I could never attain my own farm, and then all of a sudden, it's attainable.
Yeah. Attain a farm. Mike could do attain a farm. Yeah. What about farm it out? Farm it out.
No,
that's essentially what you're doing. That's essentially what you're doing is you're farming it out.
Yep. I like that. Farm it out. That's really good, Brad.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other ones? I think some of these are good.
Farm it out is the best.
You like that one?
I like it.
That's the winner?
Yeah.
Better than Diversifarm?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's better than Franafarm.
Fran Farms?
Friendafarm?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Farm it out. Yeah, that's a good name. So here's a question. Would it ever would it be something that you would ever consider doing? Say things changed in your life a little bit, like a forced change. You were going to have to do a forced change.
Forced change. What do you mean by forced change? Like when you say forced change, what do you mean?
You lose your job for some reason, not your fault.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too dark in forced changes because they could become pretty dark pretty quick.
Yeah.
But there's a a definite forced change in your life.
Yeah. Did I have a failure of some sort in your scenario? Did I fall from ground?
There's all kinds of things that could happen in this scenario. So you're just like, you know what? We got to get out of here. This is what happens.
I'm reviled. Everybody
Lauderdale.
hates me in town. I got to get out.
Fort Lauderdale gets taken over by some crazy disease that's turning everybody into zombies. And you're like, we got to get out of Fort Lauderdale. But it's confined to Fort Lauderdale. And if you don't have this disease, they're like, you can get out of here and go somewhere else.
Oh, that's good. I feel like whatever your answer is to what do you mean by forced out says a lot about you, right?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, then you get into your greatest fear. So yours is like the zombie apocalypse. Mine is like, I'm reviled. Everybody in town hates me.
Right.
Where do I go? Right.
Yeah.
So
you go to Starbucks and they're like, out.
My pictures on the wall. Yeah. Do not serve.
That's what happens. Let's go there. They have pictures in all the gas stations. Don't take a check from this person, and it's a picture of Brad and a canceled check.
Yeah, well, rest assured, I haven't used a check in about 7 years, so that won't be a problem. Okay, are we ready to? What are we doing? Are we ready to rate this
I was
thing?
asking. Would it be something that you'd be?
Would I do it if I got forced out of town?
You're on the run.
It would have to be such a cataclysmic event in my life, because one of those events that's like everything I've been doing and thinking has been wrong. I need to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like that's what this idea is for me. This is the opposite of everything I've been doing up until this point. And so it would take that type of event, but it would be the kind of thing, if that happened, this would be a really good solution. Hey, you got to, everything you thought about life is wrong.
Right.
I want you to start doing the opposite instinct. This would be it for me. But it would be fun though. I do think that sense of accomplishment, the sense of living off of the land, slowing down your pace of life, that all appeals to me. Like I can tap into that, and if this gave me the option to do it, it would be an option. How about you? What's your likelihood of doing this? Do you want to live off the land again, or you like been there, done that?
I
bought the overalls.
Most of me has been there, done that.
Yeah.
There are times that I'm like, man, that would be so nice just to, my parents own 60 acres in the Ozark Mountains in Missouri, and just be like, hey, I think we want to take that over and try to turn it into a farm. There are those moments that I have
when life gets super stressful, probably, and you're just,
what's weird? Yeah. Now that you said that, yes, one for sure. When life is super stressful, you're just like, screw it all, I'm living
off the farm.
When life is beautiful, when life is really, really sweet, I think, man, wouldn't it be great if I was rocking in a rocking chair on a front porch and drinking lemonade mixed with tea and some stupid hound dog at my feet, like smoking a pipe, like those moments. Also watching the sunset, like so in the extremes of life, either way, I have a longing to, be part of, to farm it out. But when I'm just going through my daily routine, I'm like, never again.
Yeah.
No way.
I just think there is going to be a lot of people on this side of the pandemic going, I want a different pace of life.
Yeah.
I don't need all the money. I don't need the hustle. I'm done with it.
Right.
I'm sick and tired of it. It's tearing my family apart. It's tearing my soul apart. I just want to sleep well at night.
Yeah. I want a screen door that I can slam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want a hound dog.
Yeah.
I want my pipe. I want a corncob pipe.
Yep. Yeah.
A pick 'em up truck.
Yeah. It is. It's so.
Is it a pickup truck or is it a pick 'em up truck? What's the difference?
I would say pickup truck.
Okay.
Always. I would. Yeah. That's what I would say. So I'm not like a country person, Brad.
Yeah.
I just grew up on a farm. So.
Yeah. All right. Give me the rating scale on this one.
Okay. So would you rate this between, and I'm going to use implements that tear up the ground. Okay.
Okay.
So on this side, you have a hoe. And on this side, you have a John Deere tractor.
Yeah. This is definitely not a hoe. I think this is I think this is a winner. Yeah. I think this is a real winner. I think this is the John Deere tractor, man.
Yeah.
I think this one's got some legs to it.
If you have the right people in charge, and if you have the right brain trust.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's got to be, the important part of it is it has to be a John Deere
Yes.
tractor. It can't be some unmarked tractor.
Right.
And that's what this could be.
Yeah, for sure. It could be the John Deere lawn tractor. And you're like, why is this not working?
Yes. This has to be like a certified, legit John Deere tractor, because there's a lot of ways to screw this up.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked, we did mention it, but there's like a lot of ways, I think, to screw this one up. There's some risk there. But if you had somebody who was incredible and knowledgeable at farming and also really good at business, like those two things, I think this is a winner. So that's where I would rate this one. This one, you rated pretty high yourself?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, good stuff. Great idea. Great problem. Great solution. Farm it out. I think it's a great idea. Thanks for listening to this episode. We'd love it if you would like, rate, subscribe, and share this podcast with others. Know we've got a growing list of ideas, so we'll be back next time to share more with you. If you have an idea you'd like to share, head over to idealistpodcast.com and record your pitch right there on our site. We just may share it and pick it apart on an upcoming episode. So until next time, thanks again for joining The Idealist.